Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show. Today is August the 2nd. There are 4 games in the WNBA for today, as we kind of talked about yesterday on the show. Big slate for today, man. Yesterday, I didn't really like a lot. I ended up getting there with the New York Liberty on the money line. And boy, did they make it a sweat. Money line was minus 145, like literally right before the tip-off. And I was like, New York got to win this game, man. They got to start stacking some wins. They were able to get the job done, even though they looked terrible in the third quarter. Also caught a 4.5 with Phoenix on the other side as well, plus 4.5 going into the fourth quarter when Sabrina hit a couple threes in a row, to give New York the lead. So both of them ended up staying off that first game. Chicago plus the points was definitely the right side yesterday. They won the game outright. Looking in retrospect, the Aces weren't the greatest spot, just transparently. I wasn't hip to it. I missed that part for some reason, but still profitable day. Hopefully you guys found some ways to make some money. Let's jump into it for this 4-game slate, man. We'll start off with Jackson, AI Sports Betting Tool, linked in the description. Keeping the same player prop rolling because yesterday it gave out another winner, which was the same prompt rolling because the prompt was a player prop, which was another winner, and it was DeWanna Bonner over her 5.5 boys. She crushed that line again yesterday. So I asked Jackson to analyze today's WNBA slate to identify the highest value opportunities for player props, focus on lines that show a significant discrepancy against 5-game rolling averages, tracking changes in usage rate due to injuries, or favorable defensive matchups, specifically targeting points, rebounds, or assists. Please provide the data, the underlying metrics, and reasoning for each recommendation. So top play on the board for today is Kelsey Mitchell over her 22.5 points. It says that she's currently playing at an elite level that far exceeds her season average of 23.5 points. Over her last 5 games, she's averaging a staggering 28 points, hitting the over 22.5 line in 100% of those contests. Her 10-game trend is equally impressive with a 90% hit rate and a mean of 27.2. The matchup against the Minnesota Lynx is particularly favorable, while Minnesota is generally disciplined. Mitchell has historically performed well against them, averaging 23.6 points per game in her last 3 meetings. More importantly, the Indiana Fever injury report, both Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark is day-to-day, which I think that they'll play, but we'll see. If either are limited or sidelined, Mitchell's usage rate already high will skyrocket as the primary scoring engine. Even with them on the floor, her recent volume, hitting 100% of her last 10 games over 2.5 3-pointers, ensures that she has the floor and ceiling to clear this total. So Kelsey Mitchell over her 22.5 points, man. I mean, it's kind of simple, right? You just bet on Kelsey Mitchell over, or you just kind of stay out the way. She is really, really on fire right now. And I think she could get there against this Minnesota defense as well today. But let's jump into it. Link is always in the description if you guys are interested in checking out Jackson for MLB or, I don't know what you guys bet on, but whatever it is that you bet on, Jackson got you covered. So definitely check that out. Make sure your prompts are right. And let's jump into it. So first up, we have the Indiana Fever and Minnesota Lynx. This is the primetime game of the day. It is a 1 o'clock start time. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. Yeah, 1 o'clock start time. Shout out to Kathy, man, and WNBA for putting 4 games on today at 4 different times. That's that we gotta start with that. So Indiana and Minnesota, very, very good game, man. I'm gonna be glued to the TV for this one. Injury report wise, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston both listed as probable, and that's it. Minnesota good on their side as well, so it should be a star-studded type game. I tweeted this out yesterday, but this total at 193.5 is the highest total in WNBA history. Like, we've never seen a total this high. I mean, it's pushing NBA, type numbers. And I gave you guys the numbers in the last game, and I was saying when Indiana was playing against Portland, I was saying that they, had just went over in 4 straight games. They had 4 straight games where they had crossed 200 points. So it's really, really difficult to want to get there, with an under. However, we'll talk about the total in just a second. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. So this spread actually opened 5.5 yesterday. It was up. I saw some 6.5s as well. And by the time I started handicapping it already started to move to 5.5. I woke up this morning, it's down to 4.5. So Indiana is taking money, and I agree with it. But let me tell you guys why. So this Indiana team has won 5 straight. They've covered 4 to 5, 30 straight road games since the All-Star break, which isn't the most favorable matchup, favorable situational spot. But their last 3 wins have been against teams not going to the playoffs. They've beat up on some pretty easy competition. They just beat the Portland Fire, which are a shell of themselves. They beat the Seattle Storm. They beat the Connecticut Sun. But one impressive win, I guess you could say, against the New York Liberty. I don't know what the New York Liberty are right now, but regardless, they've won 8 of their last 10. They've covered 7 of their last 10, 8-2 to the over, the highest, most explosive offense that we've seen. Now, when I look at the Fever as road dogs this season, they've done really, really well. 3-3 straight up and against the numbers. So if they cover, they typically win outright, including 3 straight wins in this spot as well. So they started 0-3, and now they're 3-3. Twice against the Aces, they won as dogs, and both of those games, I want to say, both of them were in Las Vegas, and then they beat the Mercury as well. And I think that game was in Phoenix as well. So all 3 games as a road dog, they've won in their last 3, ATS wise. Then we start looking at Minnesota. This is the best team in the WNBA record wise. Winners of 9 in a row. They finally covered a game against Toronto after not covering 9 straight. A one-day rest advantage for them in this spot as well. A couple things I looked at. First off, Minnesota is 0-3 ATS when they're playing these games with a super high total. So if a total is above 174 in home games, they haven't covered any of them. They've also played a really easy schedule as well. So we kind of poking holes in Indiana's schedule. Same thing can be said about this Minnesota team. They play a really, really easy schedule and haven't been tested as of late. Back-to-back games against Toronto. They won both, but didn't cover the first. And then before that, they had the back-to-back games against Seattle before the All-Star break, and they won both of those, but didn't cover either one of them. And then before that, they had the Fire, the Sparks before those 2. So 6 straight easy games against teams that aren't going to the playoffs for this Minnesota team. And we know Fee, this will be our first game playing. I love Fee. I love the Indiana Fever. I love Minnesota Lynx. But this will be Fee's first game against a really good, competitor. I think Minnesota is laying too many points, man. I should have got in early. I didn't. I had Indiana plus 5.5 if I had to play it. A couple systems that I had on that. One was just teams on a 3-game winning streak facing an opponent on a 3-game winning streak. The home team doesn't typically cover a lot. About 40% of the time, 7-0 ATS is the spot for the Indiana Fever in this spot. I think Indiana is the right side, man. I think they have the rebounding advantage down low. I think they're just a really explosive offensive team right now. So if you're giving me points with them on the road, I know Minnesota is a hard place to play in. I think Indiana can keep this one within the number, though, man. So I would be taking Indiana if I'm taking anything at all. Problem is, I didn't get the best of the number. I hate when I don't get the best of the number, but maybe Indiana can win the game outright. We'll see. As far as the total goes, I like to take it over with both teams playing against poor defenses recently, but the more I kind of think about it, the more I think I'm gonna just watch. I don't really want to take it under, with an Indiana and Minnesota game, just from a watching perspective. I don't want to be sweating this out. Now, if they come out super hot in the first half and this total gets up to 200, 195, 197, I will be looking to take a live under because I think the defense will pick up in the second half. 100 to 93 is a lot of points to be expected, though. I know that both of these teams have been scoring that many, but that's a lot of points to expect. From a player prop perspective, in this one, I was looking at, and we'll transition over to Outlier really quickly. Again, Outlier is always pinned in the description as well if you guys are interested in checking it out. The Kelsey Mitchell, 3-point prop, juice now. You can see minus 154 on Kashi and minus 150 on Fanatics, but she's just been killing this 3-point prop. This isn't what I wanted to show you guys, though. What I wanted to show you guys was either Nafisha Collier or I'm thinking it's going to be Fee, but I'm not sure. Either Nafisha Collier or Natasha Howard. I think one of those two go under as far as rebounds go. So a couple things I was looking at here. If we look at Natasha Howard rebounds, this is her rebounds and assists. So let me get this off. Her rebounds listed at 6.5, I think was the number. Yeah, 6.5 is the number. And she's cleared that in 57% of games. However, with Nafisha Collier back, her minutes have gone down. She's down about 5 minutes per game. And we know that this Indiana Fever team is the best rebounding team in the WNBA. This says second, but I think that they're actually first as far as rebounds allowed per game. If we go here and we look at games played with, and we look at, see if we can find Fee. We look at games played with Fee. we can see that, even in the games against Toronto and Seattle, two pretty poor rebounding teams, she's only gotten an 8 one time in that game. Her minutes, 26.2 with feedback on the floor. Under these two games against Seattle and Toronto as well. What did we say her minutes were? 26.2. So if we look at the full season now, let's just take let's put feed. On the full season, we can see that she's averaging 29 minutes, so closer to 30 minutes. I like Natasha Howard under her boards in this spot, man. I think Aaliyah Boston and Tipson, and they just got a lot of really good rebounders. I think as hard as it is to want to play under, I'm not playing the under on points in this game because I think a lot of players could go off, but I do think that the under that I would be playing would be on Natasha Howard boards, under on her boards. All right, let's get through the next game because there's a lot to talk about today. Next one is the Sparks in the Portland Fire. And I woke up to the news because it happened in the middle of the night. But I woke up to the news that, of course, Kelsey Plum had been traded to the Phoenix Mercury for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and they traded Monique Akoa-Makani as well. The Sparks needed to get off her contract. So they will, of course, be without her. They won't have Akoa-Makani as well. She probably woke up to the news too. And then on the Portland Fire side of things, they will have everybody, even though Sarah Ashley Barker, of course, won't be with the team. So they're down another player. The way I kind of think about this game, and I'll be quick with this one because I'm not sure if I actually bet it, but I think you got to take the points with whoever the dog is in this spot. I don't agree with the Portland Fire laying points. I think both of these teams are really, really bad. The Sparks have lost 6 straight, but they haven't played it since the 28th, so a ton of more rest for them. Only 2-8 in their last 10 games. The Sparks team has been pretty bad. And on the Portland side of things, they are at a major rest disadvantage. Only 1 day of rest compared to 4, I think, for the Sparks. Just 6-8 straight up at home. So those were 2 red flags for me. Portland being at a rest disadvantage, Portland being just 6-8 straight up at home. I think it's Sparks and nothing. This Portland team is just 3-7 straight up in their last 10 games. They're coming off back-to-back losses versus really good offensive teams in the Las Vegas Aces and the Indiana Fever. Post All-Star break, in which they gave up 112 and 98 points. They played in 4 straight overs. 7 of their last 10 have actually gone over the number as well. And the only advantage that I think the Sparks have is that they do have the much more rest in this game. I know that, and they also beat this Portland team early this season, 89-72, a 7.5 point favorites. I think that game was at home, but I can't lay with Portland. By default, it'd be the dog in this spot, and since the Sparks are catching points, that's who I would play. A couple of systems I looked at I had a lot, actually 4 or 5 systems that are on the Sparks plus the 1.5, and the line is starting to get a little bit shorter on a couple books. But I think the Sparks can go ahead and win this game. And both teams have played against some really strong competition as of late. Forgot exactly. I talked about who the Portland Fire had played, but the Sparks have also played against some pretty good teams as well, and they've lost, those games, but have been competitive. I looked at teams that were on a 4-game losing streak with more than 3 days rest. They cover about 60% of the time, 3-0 to the over this season in those games as well. They're going over by about 25 points. And I didn't mention on the total, but this total is going all the way up. Like, I think it opened at, I wrote 182.5 in my notes yesterday. It's all the way up to 185. So I do think, these are 2 poor defenses that just want to get up and down the floor. They fly up and down the floor. So as far as the total goes, I do agree with the over. Just upset that I don't want to miss the 3 points and get the worst of the number. So as far as the side, going back to the side, I mentioned, teams losing 4 straight games, but have 3 days of rest, more than 3 days of rest, and they're a dog. They do cover 59% of the time. If they are dog and a short dog, a less than 1 possession, 3-1 straight up and against the number. If a team has lost 6 straight games and have 3 days rest, they cover about 67% of the time. So all of these are systems that kind of back the Sparks. I agree with them. I will be taking the Sparks in this game or nothing at all. I think you fade the Portland Fire, which is why they only land a point in this game. From player prop perspective, probably Nneka. I'll be looking at Nneka. She should be able to eat, especially down low. If they can get, if they give her the ball consistently in the paint, I think she can do whatever it is that she wants, because this Fire team is just absolute food on the interior. So that's my thought process. Carla Lake should also be able to go crazy. Like, they don't have anybody to stop her. Bridget Carlton, same thing on the Portland side of things. I just didn't play any of those player props. Hit the like if you can, subscribe if you guys have not, and share the show, man. Drop it in the group chats, and let's get to the next two games. So we got Connecticut and Dallas up next. These last two are injury report dependent, though, because on the Connecticut side of things, they do have Brittany Griner listed as game time decision, and Aaliyah Edwards is out. Of course, they traded away Anisha Morrow just a couple days ago as well. And the Brittany Griner one is really, really important in my opinion, because when Brittany Griner plays, the Connecticut Sun play so much slower, and they play a little bit better defense. Like Brittany Griner kind of turned back the hand of time, maybe once every 2 weeks, because she don't really play that much no more. But you'll learn a lot, I think, in this game by how competitive Connecticut wants to be based on Brittany Griner availability, if she plays or not. She has not played. She didn't play in the first game. Well, I think the first two games post All-Star break. So we'll see what happens with her today. Their front court just gets a lot thinner when you don't have Brittany Griner. You trade away Anisha Morrow. Aaliyah Edwards is out. That puts a lot of pressure on Olivia Nelsonova-Adota to just go down there and kind of maintain. So I do think Dallas is in a nice spot. So Connecticut, their first game home off a 5-game road. Well, I'm sorry. This is I think the 5th straight road game for them. If you include pre-All-Star break, they've actually lost 4 in a row. They haven't covered any of them. 3 straight overs for them, so their defense is kind of falling off a ton. They gave up 94 points to Chicago, 92 to Washington, and then right before the break, 123 against the Indiana Fever. 7 of their last 10 have actually gone over the number, and they do have a one-day rest advantage over this Dallas team. But Dallas is coming off 2 losses as well. Back-to-back losses for them after losing to Washington on Friday night. 2 good teams though. Like they lost to Washington and then lost to Atlanta. They still won 7 of their last 10 overall, but they do have the rest. They do have a revenge game up next against the same Washington team that they just lost to. They play them again in a couple days. Dallas did beat Connecticut in Connecticut earlier this season by 3. They were laying 7.5. That game stayed well under the 171.5 total. This is a game where, like, what I was looking at initially, I was looking at under. Excuse me. I was looking at under, and it really was like teams coming off a 4-game losing streak that have also traveled a lot, and they're getting double digits. They go under about 63% of the time. Dallas is 2-0 to the under this season when they're coming off back-to-back losses. They've only lost back-to-back games twice. However, if it's like, again, it's really Brittany Griner dependent. I had a couple systems that actually like the over. And I kind of agree with those. Like teams that have played at least 5 of their last 6 games on the road and their road dogs go over about 62% of the time. We've cashed on this trend a couple times this season with Seattle. And for Dallas, they're 7-2 to the over this season, going over about that same trend is 7-2 to the over this season, going over by about 5.5 points. And then there was a couple other systems on Dallas as well. Like this line opened at 11.5. I'm not in a rush to play it until I see what happens with Brittany Griner, because in my opinion, she does mean that much. And Dallas, with the revenge game on deck at the rest disadvantage, spread is a little hefty for Dallas in this spot. But Connecticut has been getting absolutely smoked. Here's the other thing I want to make sure I mention real quick in this game. Connecticut, for whatever reason, has been really, really good in the first half. And I do think we get a focused Dallas team in this game, but Dallas just, for whatever reason, is slow. They're super slow starters. So really quickly, if we go over to let's see, make sure I got the right one. All right. So if we go over to the Money Baller, and Money Baller is also, linked in the description. Make sure you guys check this out. For whatever reason, Dallas just starts the game so slow. So they don't cover first halves. We saw them, not cover another first half against the Washington Mystics the other day. I think before that, when they were playing Atlanta, though they did cover that first half. But yeah, I mean, they're much better than this Sun team. But we'll see what happens. Going down here, we look at first half ATS. Dallas is just 13-16 ATS in the first half. The Sun, meanwhile, are 18-11, and if they're getting points on the road, 9-6 in the first half. Even though the Sun are 6-1 ATS in the first half when they're laying points, but the Sun with the rest advantage. With the Wings are 6-1 ATS in the first half. The Sun with the rest advantage in the first half are 7-2 ATS. So I kind of think you could get. I'm showing you guys all of this because I think you can get Dallas live in this game if they do come out a little sluggish. Connecticut, for whatever reason, typically just falls off really, really bad in the second half. You can see that the Wings last 10 games, first half 2-0 to the first half, but 5-5 overall. Sun 7-3. ATS in the first half, and 3-0 with the rest advantage, 4-2 if they're getting points on the road as a dog as well. So just some things to consider. I think you might be able to get a little bit of a better line with Dallas, but again, a lot of it is Brittany Griner dependent on the injury report, especially with their front line being the way that it's been, or the way that it's going to be without Anisha Morrow and having Aaliyah Edwards ruled out. All right, so that's my thought process on that game. Last game on the board is Toronto and Golden State. This line opened 11.5 yesterday, and I put a little something on Golden State minus the 11.5. Really just because I caught the injury report like while it was happening. This line it went up to 13.5, then it came back. Now it looked like it's still some 13.5, some 12.5s out there as well. It's not a super big bet, but I hadn't handicapped the game. As I was handicapping the game, I saw that that Marina Mabrey was going to be listed as questionable, and I know what Toronto's offense looks like without her, especially against a Golden State team. So I think Golden State runs Toronto off the floor. I'm not 100% sure. It's dependent on Mabrey. Like I said, these last two games are kind of tricky. Marina Mabrey means a lot to this team. They do have Izzy Harrison off the report, but Anisha Morrow, who just got traded to Toronto, is not going to play in this game. And then on the Golden State side of things, Gabby Williams is listed as questionable. We'll see if she makes a return. She missed that game the first game post All-Star break when they were playing against the Phoenix Mercury just a couple, I think 3 nights ago. Yeah, I think they have 3 days of rest. So Toronto is just 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games, just 2-7 against the number in their last 10, back-to-back losses against Minnesota. 1 day rest, disadvantage in this spot as well. They're traveling from Toronto to Minnesota, which isn't too far of a travel. From Toronto to Golden State, which I guess is a little bit more travel. Hold on. No, they were in Minnesota, right? Yeah, they were at home. So Toronto to Golden State. Golden State, on the other hand, hasn't played since the 29th. Like I mentioned, they have a much better rest advantage. When they lost outright as a 3.5-point road favorite against the Phoenix Mercury, they lost that game. They've actually lost back-to-back games now, because remember, they lost to Washington right before the break, and the two losses happened to come because of their defense, both because of the defense giving up 91 and 90 points in both of those games. Both of those games, of course, going over the total. Before that, they had actually won 8 in a row, franchise record 8 in a row, and they were peaking. I think Golden State gets right today. They did beat Toronto 83-75, the 7.5-point favorites when they went to Toronto. The game stayed under the 165.5. Golden State, a couple things. The 3-1 ATS coming off a loss this season when they're playing at home. They're 6-1 ATS in their franchise history, coming off back-to-back losses, so they typically cover. 11-1 ATS with a 12.5-point margin, which is right where this game is when playing home games with more rest than their opponent. And again, they're coming off back-to-back loss. I think you see a really, really focused effort from this team. I would be looking at, depending on injury report, I would be looking at the Toronto team total under. I'd be looking at, even if Marina Mabrey comes in and plays, because maybe that boosts the total a little bit, then you take the under. But if Marina Mabrey doesn't play, I think they absolutely suffocate this Toronto team. I think it's going to be really hard for Toronto to score the basketball. I do think you get a really good effort from Golden State coming off back-to-back losses. The only game that Marina Mabrey didn't play for the Toronto team, they lost by 9, and they were laying 5.5 points against the Mercury, which she got ruled out right before tip. You guys probably remember that. Also, more rest before and after the game, which is a nice little trend on Golden State as well. About 62.5%, especially if they land double digits since 2017. And that trend is also active on the Toronto team total under. I think the number was 74.5, but I couldn't bet it last night. The book that it came out on wasn't available to me. But it looks like it's 76.5, 75.5. But we'll see what happens with Marina Mabrey, in my opinion. So that is the card for today, man. I've been talking for a long time. As far as a recap, let me get this off the screen. Clea Copper did cover her points yesterday as well. She ended up with 25, even though I didn't bet it. All right. So as far as today goes, let's go back to the top. I think Indiana is the right side, man. I really, really do. Let's see. Best number you can get. Looks like it's going back to 5.5 now. I'd be taking the 5.5. I think if Indiana wins, it'll be, if Minnesota wins, it won't be by margin. Total is starting to drop a little bit, down to 192.5, down to 191.5. That's the super high total. So some sharp money coming in on the under. I agree with that. I can't bet a total this high. And both teams, like I said, neither one of them played against really good defenses. So now they're playing against Indiana's still not a great defense, but Minnesota can really lock down when they need to. So we'll see if they can contain this Indiana offense. Los Angeles Sparks, even without Kelsey Plum, just can't be laying points. Can't be laying points with the Portland Fire. So by default, Dallas, Connecticut, Dallas team total over, dependent upon, wait on the injury report though, because Brittany Griner slow the tempo and pace all the way down. And then I'll be looking towards Dallas live, like I said as well. So I'm actually not even gonna put that up here because it's kind of game flow dependent. And then I did bet Golden State, but I got a much better line on Golden State. I got 11.5, and it's a light play. So we'll see what happens. Again, that's one where you kind of got to wait on the injury report as well. I told you guys I like Natasha Howard. Under her 6.5 rebounds. Just think the minutes potentially might not be there. Her or either Fee under boards just may not be there for those two today. And Kelsey Mitchell, I would continue to play on her over her points, man. That's what I like for today, man. Kind of feel like I want to find some player props, but I think I'm going to chill out. Things have been going well, and no need to really force anything. So enjoy the games. Hopefully, if I have some live bets, I'll tweet them out on Twitter, you guys, or X. Make sure you guys are following me there at ChrisBeCappinn, 2 P's, 2 N's. That's it, man. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the day. And we'll be back tomorrow. 3-game slate for tomorrow, man. I'll catch you guys then. Resources all listed in the description. Jackson, Outloud, Moneyball, Ajim. You got a chance to see how I use all of those to kind of handicap these games and come up with my final selections. Hit the like button on the way out. Enjoy the day again, man. And I'll catch you guys in the next.